Hey guys, welcome back to Home and Heart with Christina. As you know, this is a space where we talk about home, faith, and life. We are building something meaningful for our families. And I'm so excited for today's episode as we will be talking about the biggest mistakes that families make when buying homes. And I have three important specific points that I want to talk to you about today. And I don't want to overload you. These are just very quick points to discuss and something that will completely change our minds when it comes to the outcome when we purchase a home. And I know when you or I hear the word mistake, instantly we feel like, no, I don't want to feel guilty about making a wrong choice or making the wrong move. Well, that's not the case. My intention today is not to have you feel guilty in any way. It's just for you to prevent in the near future. And I'll share some of my experiences as well. So there's nothing wrong with making mistakes. In fact, when we make mistakes, we can learn from them. Okay, so today I'm so excited for this topic and we'll get right into it. I want to go ahead and get into my first point. And so today our first point is chasing the perfect home. And you'll probably very much relate to this. And instead of finding the right fit, what is best for our family, we're just overall thinking about that perfect home, right? And it's okay to dream. It's okay to have specific needs and wants. But and when we talk about needs and wants, let's be honest here, and this is a safe space. When we don't want something that we want, the luxury and things like that will come at some point. But we, as first-time home buyers, or even on our second purchase, we want to think about what is the right fit for our family. So one of the specific mistakes that we can make, as we discussed on point one, is we chase the perfect home. So ideally, when we say perfect home, we're probably thinking, us women that we enjoy the kitchen, we're thinking, I want a dream kitchen, butler's pantry, the aesthetics, the wow factor. When we have family and friends come over for that home warming, we want them to get that wow factor, right? But is that what we're really is that what we really want for our family? Is it really the right fit? And oftentimes, when we think about the perfect home, it may be a distraction. What looks perfect may come with a cost later on. So I know for me, when I was house hunting for the very first time, I remember walking into so many homes and I'm just looking at does it have that tallness? Does it have crown molding? I'm looking at the aesthetics. I'm looking at the luxury. I'm looking at that wow factor that's going to wow me. But I have to look past that. We have to look past that, right? And oftentimes we miss that. And we can miss out too when we walk into a home. It's like, I don't like it. I don't see it. I don't feel it. I don't know. It needs a lot of work. But those can be very much potential opportunities. And on another episode, we'll go ahead and discuss that. Oh, and by the way, if this is your first time joining my podcast, you're probably thinking in your mind, who is this? What is she talking about? What is she all about? Well, go ahead and go to my channel, Home and Heart with Christina, and you can go ahead and preview episode 1. It tells you about who I am, what I do, and a little about me and where I come from. That's just a disclaimer, right? So let's get back into point 1. So when we're thinking about that perfect home, we're not only thinking about the aesthetics, we're not only thinking about the wow factor, we're really thinking, does this make sense for my family? Does it make my daily life easier? Does it support our routine, right? Does it make sense long term? And perhaps if someone watching this episode is thinking, well, I'm really thinking this is my first purchase. Ideally, it is not going to be that dream home when we're thinking about a first home. I remember my realtor back in California where he he clearly said it bluntly and with no filters. He said, "Your first home will never be your dream home. You got to wait it out a little." And then 5 years later, he said, "I guarantee I'll get you into a dream home." Well, not in California. I'm in Florida now. But those are the things that really matter. Are we really looking into long term? Are we looking at this is what makes sense now for my family? Let me make it happen. And then we will look into other options available. A home can be beautiful and we can make it look beautiful if it doesn't. So, at times, because we don't see the aesthetics, at times because we don't see this is the type of the color of paint that I like. This is what it has all the luxury that I want. It does not have the luxuries that I want. Well, really, we can make that home our own if it is the right choice, it is the right fit, if it makes sense for our families. Because at the end of the day, this choice, this life investment that we're making is really for our family, for our family's well-being. So we have to think about not so much on the perfect home. Does it have the wow factor? We're thinking more of what makes sense for our family. Is it the right fit? Is it near the schools, districts that I want my children to be in? So many more things to consider, not only that perfect home or that cute, beautiful home, right? Those are the things that we may overlook. So now getting into point two, and we're going to go ahead and get right into it in terms of my personal experience. So point number two is emotional shopping. How many of you at some point when you walk into a home that you've requested a showing on, and you walk in and you walk around and then you leave the place and you discuss it with your family, you're like, I just didn't feel it. I didn't feel like this was the home. We're going by emotions. And so in reality, we're no longer shopping for what makes sense. We're no longer shopping for what is ideal. More or less, we're now shopping with emotions. We're just, I didn't feel it. And now we're in that big mistake that we make where we are emotionally shopping. And this one is very personal to me. I can deeply relate to it, and I'll tell you a quick story. I promise you I won't drag you very long. But with me, it was like I found a home after previewing 20 plus homes. I found a home, my first home, and we put in an offer. And for some reason, I wasn't feeling so comfortable because it was a specific area in Los Angeles that I didn't want to be in, that I really was trying to avoid. But I really wanted to get into being able to purchase my first home. And at that time, I remember I really was avoiding that city, but that is the only place where I found the home. Home was in really great condition, and price was what we were pre-approved on. And we decided to put in an offer before someone else took that opportunity from us. And then we went home. And then for some reason, it wasn't sitting well with me. I said, I don't like the area. I'm not comfortable. Is it really the area I want to be in? And do I really want to raise my son in this city? Or do I want to wait it out? Right? The first thing I thought is maybe I should just wait. The market was doing very good at that time. That was in 2020. Pandemic, rates were extremely doable. Rates were awesome then. And so, long story short, overnight, we said, let's take a drive. Let's see what it's like at nighttime. So we took a drive, and as soon as we were heading down to the street where the house was, there was just yellow tape, that do not enter yellow tape, the one that scares you, the ones you see on the crime scene episodes you like to watch, like I do. Yeah, that's the tape that we saw right on the street that we were supposed to turn where the home was. And I was so disappointed. And I said to myself, No, I knew that feeling that I had was not good. And I immediately texted the realtor and I said, you know what? I think we're going to go ahead and cancel the offer. We're not going to go ahead and do that. Well, thankfully, our realtor was very patient and he said, okay, why don't you sleep on it? Right. And there was no cancellation, or I think along the lines of, I'll put it in the morning. So officially, the contract was not canceled. Overnight, I kept thinking about it. And in the morning, it just dawned on me. I woke up very early and it dawned on me. And I said, wait a minute, what am I doing? I'm going to miss out on this opportunity just because it wasn't sitting well with me. You know, the emotions, what we're talking about, emotional shopping. It wasn't sitting well with me. And I said, but wait a minute. I grew up in the projects in East LA. I grew up in the projects. I grew up in this environment and I didn't turn out as bad, I think. And I grew up in the projects. I saw so much crime happening, gangs, and so much negativity in that project's environment. Yet I survived and I'm here today. And I said, I can do the same. What really matters is how we raise our children, right? When we talk about life, when we talk about home, that's what really matters. What we teach our children at home, that goes a long way. Like I said in the first episode, that we give them the right foundation and they will do good as long as we do our part as parents, right? And so, long story short, we didn't cancel. We said, I immediately texted the realtor and I said, we're not going to cancel. I grew up in the projects. This is not as bad. Let's go with it. And I don't regret it because at the end of the day, and this is just a sneak peek, what I'll say, when I sold that home 4 years later, I took approximately 200,000 plus of equity on that home after closing costs and all that. After I sold that home, and I took a very good equity amount and was able to put it in my pocket to invest in my second home. So that's what we can do when we can avoid the mistake of emotionally shopping. I guarantee later on you'll see the bigger purpose. And if we really get our mind and our thoughts and our emotions straight, I guarantee you won't regret it. So that's my story, and I don't want to dive so much into it. So we have to move with wisdom, not just emotion. We have to we have to discipline our thoughts. We have to discipline our emotions. And point number 3, to go ahead and move forward, this is the last point I will discuss, is that we should not buy if we are not financially ready. What does that mean? And I will dig, like I said, I will dig deeper into this subject in another episode. But as far as when I say not ready financially, it's really about preparing. Having a good credit score goes a long way, especially now with the interest rates at a very high rate. We want to make sure that we do this smart. So obviously we do have to be financially ready, but not only financially ready, but at the same time, let's think about when we talk about being smart, right? We're talking about, the topic of home ownership comes to mind. We're like, no, there's so much that goes with that. There's so much responsibility, so many headaches. It's so much easier to rent. And yes, sometimes renting sounds easier and it sounds like it makes more sense. But in reality, you want to be able to pay yourself. Like I said, I took a significant amount of money after being able to own my home. Was my first home my dream home? It clearly was not, but it was a stepping stone for me in order to get into what I really wanted to own at one point. So the stop renting, pay yourself instead of someone else's mortgage. That makes sense. Ownership not only works in our favor, but it prepares us financially, because owning comes with more than just a payment. And if we rush into things, We may feel pressured. We may feel like this is a very stressful life commitment. It is. It comes with its challenges, but it is rewarding. Remember, like I said in the beginning, we're building something for ourselves, for our families. We're creating stability. We're thinking long term. We're thinking about when our children have their children. So that's what really works for us if we do it the right way. And sometimes the preparation aspect, we may skip that part. So if you want to know more on a step-by-step guidance, if that's something that would you're probably thinking, Christina, you should probably bring a step-to-step guide into that home buying process, what it takes, what do I need to prepare? I can most certainly do that. You can go ahead and comment the word step by step, and I will certainly put that together for you. Or you're probably thinking, Christina, I want more on what does this have to do with home and faith? Well, it clearly has to do with not only, as I said, about being financially ready, but also having the right mindset, having the right support system. Because at times we're so fixated on what are people going to think about the home that I purchased. Are they going to like it? It really doesn't matter. What matters is who's going to live in it, our family. And that's what really matters. What matters is that you prayed on it as well. Pray about it. Ask for God's guidance, for God's will, for God's wisdom. Because like I said, we don't need our emotions all over the place. We need the wisdom to go ahead and purchase and be smart about our purchase. So honestly, this is more deeper, more profound that we're not going to be able to accomplish in 20 minutes. But I will say that I can go ahead and continue this episode on a part 2 and dive into those additional mistakes. There's so many other mistakes that we can be making, but most importantly, let's be guided by our faith, by our trust in God. Let's pray about it. Let's see what matters. It's so, no matter how old your children is, believe me, when we give them a voice, we say, what do you think about this home? It makes a world of a difference. Have them involved in the purchase, not our emotions, not about the wow factor, the aesthetics. There's so much more than just a perfect home. Eventually, you can get into that dream home when the time is right, when financially we've actually invested properly, right? So thank you so much for watching this episode and for tuning in on my second episode. And if you like this episode and you can resonate with it and you can relate with it, I would appreciate if you can share with others, and we can continue to share what home, heart, and life is really is, and how we tie that together to real estate. All right. And you can follow me on Facebook and Instagram. I will go ahead and link my profiles below. Feel free to share this with your loved ones, with your friends. And I look forward to the next episode and having you join with me. Take care and God bless.